We are just hours away from the first presidential debate where President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden will go head-to-head for the first time. The stakes are high as the two candidates take the stage in Cleveland for the first of 3 debates. Today marks just 5 weeks until the presidential election. It is America's first chance to see the two men together. The debate is being held at Case Western Reserve University. The audience will be much smaller than usual tonight because of the pandemic. Everyone will wear masks except the candidates and the moderator. CBS News political correspondent Ed O'Keefe reports on what we can expect tonight from Cleveland.
I am looking very forward to the debate.
Tonight, after months of sparring from a distance, President Trump comes face to face with Joe Biden.
I'm prepared to go out and make my case as to why I think he's failed.
The president, who's been campaigning nationwide in recent days, insists he needs no preparation.
He prepares for debates every single day just by being president of the United States and addressing the concerns of the American people.
Trump campaign spokesman Tim Murtaugh says they're taking Biden's debate skills seriously.
In the Democrat primaries, he just came through 11 debates and managed to beat 24 opponents. Joe Biden is a guy who knows his way around the debate stage.
Biden is a longtime debate veteran, and he's been preparing from his Delaware home. His team is anticipating tough attacks from the president, potentially about Biden's son, Hunter, and his past work in China and Ukraine, the subject of a recent congressional report. Campaign spokesman T.J. Ducklow.
What he should be talking about and what folks at home want to hear is what is Donald Trump going to do for their family? That's what Joe Biden's going to talk about.
Tonight's debate is set to run 90 minutes with 6 15-minute segments focused on the coronavirus pandemic, the economy, race and violence, the Biden and Trump records, the integrity of the elections, and the Supreme Court. The court is a hot topic for voters now, just days after the president nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett to fill Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. Campaigning in North Carolina on Monday, Biden's running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, who sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee set to consider the nomination, didn't rule out meeting with Barrett.
I'm sure that's going to happen. We'll see how everything works out.
And do you intend to?
I haven't made a plan one way or another.
Ed O'Keefe, CBS News.
And for more on this, I want to bring in CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns. She's in Cleveland as we count down to the debate. Hi, Caitlin. So first off, what are you watching for tonight, and what sorts of attacks can we expect the candidates to aim at each other?
Hi, Tanya. Well, greetings from the beautiful city of Cleveland. You can see the skyline behind me. You know I went to college here, so I have a soft spot in my heart for this great city. This is a key battleground and a key debate that we are looking forward to tonight. In preparing for this debate, I was thinking about all these Democratic voters during the primary that we talked to in New Hampshire and Iowa, South Carolina and Nevada. The metric that they were using to filter out which candidate they wanted at the top of their ticket was, can this person go toe-to-toe against Donald Trump on the debate stage? All throughout those primaries, those Democratic voters were thinking about a night like tonight to try to figure out who they would support. Ultimately, of course, they decided on Joe Biden, and he will make that debut tonight. We have talked a lot over the past couple of weeks how wild this year has been. That's an understatement. It's been a chaotic year. The pandemic, the economic crisis, lots of things could have rattled this race. But what is so remarkable about this race is that it hasn't really changed all that much. Yes, the candidates have gone up or down a couple of points, but this has been largely a stable race, especially given everything that's been unstable about the world and the country. Biden has been leading nationally and in key battleground states. So tonight he wants to keep that lead and be able to message to voters who may be interested in supporting him, may be thinking about Donald Trump, or may have broken away from the Republican Party and are looking to see if Biden is up to the task. We have Donald Trump, who Americans have heard a lot of. They hear from him and see him every day, pretty much. He gives lots of press conferences that he says have been preparing him for the debate. The Biden campaign wants to make this a referendum on the president's handling of coronavirus. They want that to be the message. The president wants to get Biden off message, provide distractions and rattle him a bit, and try again to message to those same voters who may be still deciding about which candidate they'll support.
And Caitlin, of course, President Trump is still playing defense after that New York Times report revealing he paid just $750 in federal income taxes in both 2016 and 2017. Can we expect this to factor into tonight's questioning?
It could come up from the moderator, or it could come up from Biden himself. We know the Biden campaign has already seized on this, trying to compare the president's taxes paid to those paid by average working Americans who have been paying more in taxes. But it will be interesting to see kind of how much Biden goes after this, because he really does want to focus on the president's handling of coronavirus and this pandemic that has uprooted everyone's everyday lives. So that seems to be the message that the Biden campaign wants to move forward. The president has been saying that not only is this reporting fake news, which it's not, but he's also been saying, look, these are the tax rules, and I was able to take these deductions. And he is going to try to make the argument, the Trump campaign says, that he is someone who signed the front of paychecks, is something they like to say, and they don't see this as an issue that they think will be working against them.
So, Caitlin, you mentioned earlier that President Trump is going to try to rattle Joe Biden. He has, of course, been calling for Biden to take a drug test before tonight's debate. He's also attacked Biden's mental state. Have these tactics managed to lower the bar for Biden? And how important is it for him to stay on message and be on top of his game tonight?
It's a really interesting dynamic that we've seen from the Trump campaign. At times over the course of this campaign, mostly they've been saying that Biden is in the basement. Sleepy Joe is what the president calls him. They've been questioning his mental acuity and his ability to be, present. Now, over the past couple of days, they've been messaging that Biden is a great debater, that he's been doing this for a long time. He has experience on the stage, not only in the vice presidential debates, but also as the Democratic candidate going through lots and lots of Democratic primary debates. So earlier they were trying to say that he isn't up to the task, and now they're saying that he's really good at it. So those that wide variety of expectation setting could, in fact, try to have the effect of lowering the bar for Biden. While Biden has been in the lead, I think the idea of tonight is really to show to his supporters, but also those who might be inclined to support him, that he is up to the task and that he can stay on message, not get rattled by the personal attacks that are certainly going to be coming from Donald Trump, but focus on this message, especially the pandemic.
So, of course, speaking of the pandemic, this is taking place during the pandemic. How is this debate going to look different from what we're used to seeing?
Well, there will be no handshakes. Not that we might have expected it anyway, given how brutal this race has really been, but no handshakes. Everybody in the audience, it'll be a very limited audience. Everybody will be wearing masks except for the candidates and the moderator. Everyone going into that auditorium will have been tested for coronavirus and will have had to have tested negative to be in that room. So we're still in the middle of a pandemic. The precautions are being taken. You'll have a smaller audience, mask wearing by those, and negative coronavirus tests.
So, Caitlin, how much does all of this matter? According to data from the United States Election Project, over 1 million Americans have already voted. I know we saw there earlier on in the package, in Ed's package there, a voter saying she's still deciding. But really, how many people are still deciding at this point? Don't most Americans have their minds made up?
Yeah, that is a big question going into tonight. Is this more about kind of going in and rooting for your candidate, or is this really about any persuadable voters still left? And we've seen kind of increasingly that elections are base elections and that these kinds of debates don't do all that much to move the race. And we've talked about how this race really hasn't changed all that much. But to those voters that both of these campaigns are targeting, they're trying to target Republican voters who have either fallen off the Republican Party train in the era of Donald Trump. We've seen the Trump campaign and the Republican Party through their convention try to get those voters back. We've also seen overtures made by the Biden campaign to try to message to those voters on the margins. It's a very slim, there are very few of those kinds of voters left, but in an election that could be really close, especially in these key battleground states, all of those voters matter, and this will be an attempt to try to persuade those who are still left that could be persuaded.
That's right. All right. Well, Caitlin Huey-Burns in Cleveland, Ohio, you have an exciting day ahead. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And don't forget, we will have a special preview of the first presidential debate tonight on Red and Blue at 5 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You can then watch the debate at 9 p.m. here on CBSN. It will be followed by a recap of the memorable moments at 11 p.m. All that right here on CBSN.